You can be organized, dependable, even financially responsible, and still feel deeply unsafe when it comes to money. You feel like no matter what you do, there's never quite enough. Not enough rest, not enough time, not enough money, not enough of you to go around. Scarcity doesn't always look like lack. Sometimes it looks like overgiving, undercharging, burnout, and perfectionism in disguise. And it's not because you're bad with money. It's because that scarcity isn't just a numbers game. It's a nervous system pattern. But what if you didn't have to earn your way into enoughness? If you've ever felt like no matter what you do, it's never quite enough, this video is for you. So grab your tea, your journal, and your intuition, and let's get into it. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome back to Balance Muse. My name is Jerusha, and I love to talk about wealth, wisdom, and having a greater sense of well-being. So today's subject has a lot to do with the feeling of enoughness that many people seem to lack, me, myself included. And as usual, I like to go over my notes, my journal notes that I've gained throughout the week and my insights, and I put them into ChatGPT, and we have a discussion about different solutions I can gather from the notes that I've taken. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into the notes that I have summarized here that I've done with ChatGPT, and we're going to talk about scarcity. So in my scarcities notes, it started with inner money work. The first thing it says is root observations. Scarcity isn't just a lack of money. It's a belief system. It shows up as anxiety, overgiving, chronic undercharging, people pleasing, hoarding, guilt over spending, or waiting for someday. The mindset messages that tend to go over and over in people's minds are I do not deserve ease, or I don't deserve ease. Money only comes with struggle, or I'll be safe if I'm useful. So for the third one, I'll be safe if I'm useful, I find that to be a very big struggle point for me. I've often thought that if I can gain a new skill, or I have a new certification, or I'm able to provide some kind of service for someone, then I will be safe from being unemployed or lacking a job or receiving some sort of income. And that has definitely not shown to be the case. It's not wrong that I gain more skills or that anyone gains more skills, but sometimes there are things that you cannot prepare for to get jobs. A lot of young people currently are being laid off, and it's not because they're not skilled, it's just because they do not have the seniority that some of the other coworkers do. And usually the last one in is the first one to be let go. It does not guarantee, just because you have a new skill or that you feel that you're useful, that you will be kept. Especially now in the age of AI, where many people's jobs are now threatened. So healing the psycho-spiritual roots of money stress. Spiritual and psychological insights. Money problems are often symptoms, not the root. True healing comes from restoring your sense of agency, safety, and belonging. Avoid trying to manifest your way out of trauma, ground it in embodied healing. I see this a lot, this manifesting your way out of trauma in the form of almost like spiritual bypassing. So a lot of times in the spiritual or new age community, even some religious communities like even Christianity, like with prosperity gospel, people try to say, I name it and claim it, which is good. This is not wrong. It's just thinking that you're going to name and claim it out of trauma, especially if it's generational. If you've come from a family that didn't have a lot, or you've gone through harder times as a child that didn't have or that lacked, you cannot manifest your way out of that. And then the money problems that you're having are not are the symptoms and not the root. There's many things that could be compounding the problem, but they're not the problem. As if you continue to stay in the same mindset, you can move to a different job or a different vocation or a different location and still take those beliefs about yourself and your ability to be abundant with you. So some of the core wounds that go along with a scarcity mindset: emotional abandonment, and that leads to overcompensating. Often people who give too much. A lot of times women seem to fall into this category. They're trying to find worthiness in giving, or they become the martyr. If you have a lack of validation and you're seeking external approval. So there are many things or jobs or amount of income that you would want to have or you want to see in your bank account because others will see you as successful. And then there's the generational trauma where scarcity is the norm. So there are several generations in your family where you may be the first to go to college, or you may be the first to open a successful business. And because your family, that you love them or you get along with them, because they weren't able to do it, and this is all the mindset that they knew, they can't necessarily teach you a winning mindset or a belief system that leads to more abundance. So one of the healing pathways is to reparent your inner child, especially around worthiness and needs. I know that I personally have walked through that. I think there's a lot of people who have some parental wounds, and reparenting that and telling that inner child that you are enough, it sometimes can be a lifelong process. You can practice nervous system regulation when engaging with money. One of the ways to do that is somatic check-ins. What does enough feel like in my body? Okay. Does it feel calm? Does it feel peaceful? Does it feel exciting? All those things that tells your body how you feel when you receive a lot of money or you get a promotion or what have you. This can give keys into what you feel or what those symptoms about your beliefs around money feel like. So the next thing that ChatGPT did was it gave a list of the common types of scarcity archetypes that a person can be. And it also left a healing invitation to try to address those particular wounds. So the first scarcity archetype is the overgiver. This person gives out of obligation or fear of rejection. And the healing invitation is to restore boundaries. This is a really, really big thing for the caregivers out there. A lot of times you give way too much for fear of trying to make someone angry, or you don't want to displease someone. So you need to learn how to say no. I know I've had to learn how to say no, and I don't necessarily like it, especially if I care about that person. But respecting your boundaries is paramount if you are to be abundant. The next archetype it shows is the martyr. This person associates self-worth with sacrifice, and they need to value self-nourishment. I've seen this with some of my family members and my aunties and such. And that self-nourishment, it's like they're always fixing somebody else's plate, and they forgot to look after themselves, and there's nothing left for them. They're so busy running around making sure everybody else is okay, and they're allowed to sit down too and take a rest and honor that. You cannot give from an empty cup. All right. The third type is the avoider. This person disconnects from money entirely. I don't know that many people who are avoiders. And honestly, the avoider may be someone that either maybe they had so much money or their family has been generationally wealthy that they haven't had to worry about money. So talking about it is uncomfortable for them. Maybe it was a subject that was kind of taboo. It wasn't stuff that you talked about amongst polite company. And so they avoid talking about it altogether. But that may hide different money symptoms or money problems, such as overspending. So if you're not ever looking at your budget, if you don't even have a budget, you may be avoiding the issue. And to build, the healing invitation behind that is to build curiosity and safety. So just having a budget and knowing what's going on, being able to have these discussions, especially if you're married or you have a partner and you're living with them, that's that's something that you should learn how to do together. Take a look at what's going on so you can make a plan either to get out of debt if you're in debt, or to not get into debt, or learn how to build wealth and perhaps a business together. The fourth archetype is the controller. This person is hyper vigilant and they need to get it right. So that means they're suffering from some form of perfectionism. And the healing invitation was suggested was to practice trust and nervous system work. I find that not necessarily with my bank account, even though I do care and I do budget, is practicing breathing if ever I feel like I'm getting panicky or anxiety. So those were the different archetypes. Now, some tools and practices that it gave as some things you could do. So a journaling prompt would be, what do I make money mean about me? A daily affirmation that says, I am fully resourced. You could make a money altar that creates a physical space of sacred relationship with abundance. And here's a somatic practice of slow breathing affirmations. I am enough. I have enough. I am love. I have love. For that somatic practice, ChatGPT had given me something different, and I decided I wanted to change the words a little that I feel it would resonate a little bit more. So not only am I enough or I have enough, but I am love and I have love. The reason I said I am love and I have love is because fear is on the lower level of vibrational frequencies for the human consciousness, and love is at the very top. So if I'm going towards fear and scarcity, I'm going to be scared I don't have enough. But if I am love and I have love, that sends me into a sense of having peace and abundance because I have it. I am it. So if you think about the scale of which direction do you want to go towards, do you want to go more towards fear or do you want to go more towards love? And I know I'm choosing to go more towards love. Okay, so your next steps, if you choose to accept it, is to track your body reactions. When you spend or receive a large amount of money, pause and ask, what am I feeling right now? A lot of times, I never even thought about doing that as far as like, how do I feel when I receive a large amount of money or I'm about to spend what I feel to be a large amount of money? I've never really noticed if I am anxious about it. Am I nervous? Do I feel like I didn't learn enough, or I didn't do enough precautions when I take this risk in this particular investment? And even if I researched it and studied, you can't see all things, but you can manage your risk. But sometimes I'm finding that, if I'm extra nervous about it, maybe it's time to just step back and do a little bit more research. Or it could be that I could just feel lacking within myself that I have not learned enough, or that I am not enough because I feel like I didn't learn enough. So that's more of a mindset thing as opposed to you taking a risk on a very good, buying some Google stock or Amazon or what have you. Then ritualize receiving. Whether it's a compliment or cash, pause and receive fully and practice enoughness. Name 3 ways you are already deeply resourced and not just financially. So I think that's a pretty good suggestion anyway for just every day. Naming 3 ways you are already deeply resourced. If you are already practicing journaling every day, or you have a gratitude journal or a gratitude exercise you can do every day, that has, at least for me, proven to be a great way where I feel like I have enough. I feel at peace. I feel actually abundant, wealthy, just from practicing gratitude. Okay, so the key takeaways are to trust your inner compass. Money isn't just math, it's memory. That has to do with your generational trauma a lot of times. And before the bank account changes, the beliefs and body patterns must shift. So that was the takeaways for today on a lesson on scarcity mindset and getting out of that into abundance. And I hope that you found this was relevant to you, and I hope that it resonates. And if you have any particular takeaways that you would like to leave in the comments below, or some ways that you practice to make sure that you stay in an abundance mindset, please leave them below. And until next time, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. Again, take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye.